Welcome to the Inspiration Station hosted by Joshua Lenox, the place to fill up your tank if you're in need of encouragement and motivation.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Joshua Lenox. We're here on the Inspiration Station. Y'all already know it's the CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Friday, March the 20th, 2026. Y'all, we got 11 days left in March, and it has been March madness all the way. And what also has been some madness is this good old weather here in Atlanta and everywhere, actually. It's just been very fickle, and I don't like it. I'm a person who does like the cold for a certain amount of time. But I do like when it starts to become warm. I want it to remain warm and continue to go that way. And it has not been that way, but I feel like a change is coming. A change is coming. Hope that you all have been having a great day. I know this is the best part of your day to be here with me. You don't have to tell anybody. We can keep that between you and I. But as you guys are coming in, I want to say hello to everybody out there on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, Instagram Live, and our wonderful listeners on Spotify, Apple, and Audible. I am so excited to talk to you guys today, as I am every time I am here. If y'all are coming in, let me know how your day has been. Let me know how your week has been. Let me know also if you all have any plans for this weekend that are coming up. And seeing also some things that you have also grown in. I said also about twice, but tell me some things that you've been growing in as well as we are progressing through today. I also want to say, y'all, I'm just excited. And you know what? I had to kind of catch myself earlier. I said, it's just good to be excited just to be excited, not because you're looking for something or something happened. But I think it's good also to be always looking towards something and being excited just because you can. We look at the world and the things that are going on right now, but that doesn't have to have a direct effect on us and what's going on within our own lives. We can still have joy. We can still count it all joy and also depend on God to be God, because he is doing that and he will do that. And his children are absolutely fine and will be fine. So as you guys are coming in, as I said, let me know how you're doing. Let me know how your day has been. Let me know how your week has been. Some areas you've been growing in and what your plans might be for the weekend. Just scatter as much as you choose to in the good old comments. As it takes y'all a little time to get in, because I know some of y'all are logging in. You're probably on your phones, on your computers, you're watching on television, or maybe you're in the car, or you're still at work. Whatever you're doing, whatsoever you're doing, I just want you to get on here. I don't care how you get here, just get here if you can. Please just get here and get on in here, because we're gonna get on in and get on out. So if this is your first time here on the Inspiration Station, I know this won't be your last. You're gonna be like Velcro and you're stuck like glue here. We're here every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that's where you should be. Or if you end up watching later on or listening later on, that's fine as well. Want to give much love out to you all out there who are the international family that we have all abroad, and just continue to show up at all types of times and days. And I love the fact that there's several of you who watch live, and that you are sometimes early in the morning. You're starting your day off with me, and I'm just appreciative for that and glad that you guys continue to just share and liking and subscribing. And I'm loving the feedback. I'm loving also sometimes, it's not always positive when people have certain things to say, but that's just kind of what comes with the territory. So you have to take that with a grain of salt and just keep pressing forward and doing what you're doing. Don't you ever allow anybody's words or anything negative to come at you to cause you to stop or take it so personal, or you feel you get bent out of shape about anything. You take what it is and just keep moving with your life. And as I talked to y'all, I think was it a couple of weeks ago, we talked about, I don't remember what the specific subject, but for me, I know personally, and I'm pretty sure every last one of you all like this, I just have a very strong inkling. No matter what people can say the most mean, cruel things to you, and you like, is that all? Okay. Next. That's kind of how I am. So, or not kind of, I am that way. But want to say just always be mindful that everybody's not going to like what you do, and that's all right. That's good, because you're not for everybody. You're not for everybody, but you are for many people. And I'm so glad that you all are here with me, and I'm here with you, and you guys continue to show up every Friday and on whatever time you watch. So Without further ado, we're going to go really quick. Inspiration Station. This is where we're here. This is about me and you. We are both we're all inspirations to other people as well as ourselves. You look at your life, there's so many things that you have overcome, so many things you've succeeded at and done extremely well at. Every challenge, every obstacle that you overcome, you have so much to pull from. Is you should never be stuck in a place of thinking that you can't move forward because you have something to pull from to say, hey, I did several things in the past, and this is no different. I might be at a different level, and I'm a different person, and this might be a higher height that I'm at, but I can do this. It's nothing I can't do. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Also, we're open, we're honest, and we're vulnerable with one another, but also we're doing that most with ourselves because the relationship that's often neglected is the one that we have with ourselves. I know y'all know that by heart by now, right? All right, cool. People will be coming in to be interviewed on here from all types of backgrounds, people who are famous, people who you may not know, you may be meeting for the first time. But as I always say, everybody is a superstar to me. And I hope that you all are starting to adapt that because we might be in a better place if we started to look a little higher at people and really see that no matter what circumstances or background issues people have, challenges we have, we all are stars. We all have great things about ourselves. We have good, bad, and ugly sides of ourselves. So, but there's so much more good than you think, and sometimes that you don't even recognize within yourself. Also, this is a place where we're not just getting inspired and motivated and encouraged with all of these things are wonderful, but it should move you to do something. And even if that movement and action may start in just your thinking, that's a way of getting you towards action. So also, I still like to say this now, you're getting to a place of recognizing that you're becoming someone you've never seen before. And I hope that you all are starting to embrace the new you that you've never known before. I am starting to love to hear about people saying that they are starting to learn to embrace the new that they're becoming, and they've been in this training class or this training trying to figure out who am I now. I'm starting to talk differently. I'm hanging around different people. I'm taking different leaps of faith. I'm trying things I've never done before, and that's just the whole idea. You're becoming someone you've never become, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of the things that you're seeing come out in yourself, it's been there. It's just been suppressed, and you didn't know it was safe for that to come out. Well, that was good. I might need to write that down and say that again. But yes. So what I want to talk to you all about today, going to be trying to move as swift as I can, not rush, but kind of move swift because it's a little lengthy in material. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about is the underdog season when you're hidden but not forgotten. The underdog season when you're hidden and not forgotten. Anybody heard about, yeah, everybody knows what an underdog is, right? Wave in the comments or let me know. I know what the underdog. Or how many of you all know that you have been the underdog? You're the person who is not always recognized, not always seen, not always betted on. People don't always think the best of you or think that you're going to do well. And let me say this too: being under recognized is often the underdog story because you're often underestimated by people all the time. All the time, despite your success, despite the great things that you do, or maybe the things that you haven't been able to produce or put out into the world yet, you're that person who people underestimate. So, what's the definition of an underdog? Technically, an underdog is a person or a competitor who is expected to lose or who is at a disadvantage, or who is at a disadvantage, or so people think are at a disadvantage. I like to add. What is under recognized? Under recognized is when someone is not given deserved attention or notice, not identified, detected, or known. So I'm pretty sure as I'm speaking right now, some of y'all just go ahead. It's okay. Y'all can put your hands up, put your hands in the comments, put a heart, put that's me, Josh. You talking real good. You on my lane. You preaching. Whatever you want to say, go ahead and put that because I'm pretty sure that the people I'm speaking to right now have felt as if they are the underdog, and they have also often felt under recognized. So what are some things that an underdog may experience? So let's start there. One is the wonderful thought of, I don't want to say wonderful, but a thought of, I thought I'd be further by now. God, man, all this time has passed. I just knew I would be in a better place by now. I'd be higher in my accomplishments. I'd be higher. I have a bigger family. I have more money. I have greater career. My whatever I have to produce will be out in the world in some shape, form, or fashion. I would would look different by now. I would feel different by now. My health would be in a different place, whatever that is. And what that comes from is just the tension between where you are and where you hoped you be. I know that I'm probably stepping on some of y'all toes right now. You're like, Dirk, you in my business, and I understand that. But when we think about you, where you are right now in your life, you just had a whole story of where you would be by age 35 or 40 or even 20, whatever it is, whatever age, you just knew you'd be in a certain specific place. You think about when you're a kid and somebody asks you, hey, what are you going to be when you grow up? And you're like, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be a performer. I'm going to be a neurologist. Whatever it is, you as a child, you've already told yourself what you're going to do, and you already have this plan. My mom used to crack me up because we had a plan. She would rehearse with me. She would tell me, you're gonna graduate high school, you graduate college, you get a car, you get your own place, you have your career. It was certain things that she would have me to speak and speak those things that are not as though they were. And my mother was always quoting, and I used to be like, okay, I know what you're gonna say. Speak those things that are not as though they were. I got it. You telling me to speak my life into existence. I got you. But even when you have those plans, as you plan out your life, you want to see certain things manifest or come to pass at a certain point in your life. And when it doesn't, it's like, okay, well, what's the holdup? Like, I should have had this by now. And it's like, should you have had that by now? You thought you'd be further by now, but have you also negated to look back over your life and see how far you've come? Instead of thinking about I will be further by now, have you forgot about all the places that you have the things you have encountered? I said places, but the things that you have encountered up until this very point, the things that you have done and accomplished up until this point, being so future focused, you forget even about your present time. And it's like, again, you have that tension between where you are and where you thought you'd be right now. This also puts a person into a place of comparison. Now, don't sit here and act like none of you all have ever compared yourself to anyone or that you haven't compared your journey to anyone else. I have. It's been times where I've looked at other people and been like, and to be honest with me, I'm one of those people. Me getting jealous is just not, I'm not going to get jealous of somebody else's trajectory or their lane. And I will celebrate people. I love to celebrate people's success. I love to see people do well. Even if I really don't care for you, I still love to see that you're doing well and in your life. However, there have been times of thinking like, well, when is that going to happen for me? When is that? I mean, I'm doing all that I can. When is my time coming? When is my time? But it's not taking. You should never take away. Let me be very clear. Never take away from what you see somebody else doing and how their life is skyrocketing or how they're living. You don't know what prices they paid to get to where they are. You don't know how much hard work that happened. You don't know the favor over their life for them to be in the position that they're in. What I'm saying is sometimes it is a place where you're saying, I really can't. I wish that things would happen for me now. I wish that things were more. I had more than what I have right now. I wish that my life was bigger than what it is right now. There's nothing unhealthy about that. Just make sure you're not taking away from somebody else's success. You can't do that anyway. Don't spend your time trying to knock somebody down just because you see where they are and where you would hope to be. Seasons of waiting are actually building you for victory. We all love to wait, right? We all love to wait. But even while you're waiting, you're still doing something. You're still working towards something. Also, because your character is being developed, your discipline is being developed, and even your spiritual and emotional maturity is being prepared for the things that you're going headed towards. And while I tie in the waiting with, I thought I would be where I thought I would be further than where I am now. Maybe it is a place for you to be delayed for a moment, and you're having to wait, and you're getting a little weary and well doing. But it's like, hey, there's some things being developed in you, and maybe the Lord don't want to put you out there so soon or expose you too soon. Maybe He wants you to do some inner work or some things He wants to really develop in you. Again, character. Can you be consistently who you are, no matter how high God takes you? He's only going to take you as high as you take him with you. So it's like some people saying, I want to be this, I want to be on, I want more, I want to be famous, I want to be well known, I want to be a major figure, a public figure, or whatever that is. I want to be a wife, I want to be a husband, I want to be, a business owner, I want to be a CEO, I want to be an engineer, I want to be whatever that is. It's like, well, okay, do you have the character for that? Do you have the discipline for that? Do you have the emotional and spiritual maturity? Don't be asking God for all these big things and he can't even get you. You can't even pray right now. You praying so. Let me say this: you praying so hard, and you in your on your face to the Lord. You reading the word, and then when He bless you, now you start to shrink from that. That's not that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work, and that does happen with some people. But this is why sometimes we're not where we think, and again, where you think you should be. Not so much as where that's already been ordained or planned for you. You're just like, oh, I should be further. Okay, or maybe not. And before I move on to the next point, sometimes you are further than you thought right now, internally, maybe not externally yet. Sometimes your progress starts inward, then works its way outward. Sometimes we're waiting on things external, the externalization of things to say, I'm finally here. It's like, what if it starts inside first, then works its way out? Okay. Number two, misjudged effort. Criticism from others. We know people always got something to say about where you are and what you're doing in your life. So the underdog, or when you're a person who feels under-recognized, you might deal with misjudged effort. You're making effort in your life. You're striving all the time. You're trying to make moves as much as you can, and people have so much to say. Criticism might come from those unaware of your preparation. They always have something to say. Somebody doesn't know the things that you're doing behind the scenes, the work that you're working daily. Just because it hasn't been put out into the world or it hasn't been visible yet, people can think that you're not doing enough. And sometimes you're the person thinking that you're not doing enough because it's not on what you're working on is not on display. People have no idea the preparations you're making, the doors that have been closed in your face behind closed doors, the things that you're doing to heal, whether you're in counseling, you're in therapy, you're in coaching, whatever that is, you're working out to get your body together, you're trying to get your emotional regulation together, you're thinking about friendships that no longer serve you, family members you're having to have boundaries with, boundaries you're having to have just in general, things that you're trying to build consistently, and you can't even open your mouth to tell people because you have to be so mindful and careful because they'll have something to say about that as well. So again, you can be behind the scenes working your tail off, and people will look at you and think you're not doing anything because they see is what's visible. All they see is the post that you keep posting, that you're encouraging people, or they're seeing that you're taking pictures of yourself and posting them, and they think, okay, I haven't seen any updates from this person. What are they doing? I guess they're not doing enough. And they're asking you, well, why aren't you doing this? Or why aren't you doing that? You need to be doing more. Don't you think you need to be opening up this, getting a business? Don't you think you need to be moving or making some moves? It's like, you don't even have an idea of how hard this person is working behind closed doors to improve their life, to advance their life. And sometimes God will keep you quiet. Don't say nothing. Sometimes you want to say, I know I've been a person, sometimes I'm like, I want to say something. I wish I could tell people before they start looking at me thinking I'm just stuck or stagnant. I wish they knew the things that I was doing behind closed doors to prepare for where I'm proposing myself to go, and I'm supposed to go. One thing I want to add with that is that people will measure your public output. They will measure your public output, but not your private preparation. Preparation is just as much as you getting up somewhere to put out whatever it is. If you're a singer and you're behind it, like I told y'all last week, when Whitney Houston, she was working on her album for 2 years before it was actually released to the world. But it was a Grammy award winning album. And she did her first album and she won a Grammy. So it's like they did a lot of preparation, but nobody saw her doing anything else. She did the Merv Griffin show in 1983 and then nothing else. Nothing else on a major public platform until her album was released. So what I'm saying is people sometimes will look at your life, and if they don't see you having some level of output, and this doesn't always have to be out to the world at large that you're producing, but it could be even in your community. It could be in your home, in your family, among your friend group, at your church, whatever that is, your job, where people don't always see certain output, but they measure you by your output. I'm sorry, they measure you by what you're putting out, but they don't even know the private preparation that it takes for you to produce what you're doing. I like to always, again, I always say Michael Jackson, but he would rehearse crazily So when you saw him do his show, it looked so easy and effortless. And it's like, do you know the hours, the detail that he spent time on every move to make sure it was almost at perfection? The next one is your gifts feel boxed in. Anybody's gifts ever felt boxed in when you're, again, this is among people, not to yourself, unless sometimes you might be the person who boxes in your gifts because they're rare, they're unusual, they're not like everybody else. And sometimes you're thinking too small of yourself or you're minimizing yourself. I didn't mean to go there, but I did. And I did. This could be where you're feeling trapped because others can't handle your capacity. Sometimes when you show up because of your talented and skilled and anointed and gifted self, people can't contain it. And because they can't label it or because they can't, again, attain it, they can't explain it, it's not something that fits in their mold or their way of thinking, they'll try to knock you down because it's actually because they can't handle it. I always say this too, that people attack what they lack. You have some things inside of you that people don't like because they don't possess it. So it's like if you're in a position, I was gonna even say this, but I remember once being asked to lead a song, and I was not familiar with the place or the people or anything of that nature, and I just remember that the director just kept trying to he wanted me to sing it the way he was singing it. And I'm thinking like it took me a long time to even try to embrace my voice or to sing in ways I do. Because sometimes you didn't know whether I was going to be in the basement or you didn't know if I was going to be in the rafters singing soprano or something when I'm leading a song. And he wanted me to sing it a certain way. And I was like, I appreciate and I respect what you're saying, but this is the way that God has given it to me. And this is how I'm going to deliver the song. And he just continued to, and eventually he replaced me for the opportunity. And I was like, whatever, your mama, whatever. No, I'm just playing. But I was like, that's fine. But that was almost like a test for me to see, like, why are you trying to box my gift? And why are you trying to make me sound like this? Why can't I express the way I want to express? So people attack what they lack. And again, when they don't understand you, that brings on a level of minimization or putting you off to the side. Another thing I want to say with that is that this can happen when people are being told directly or indirectly to stay small. You hear people say you're doing too much. You need to just scale back some. You know, you too courageous. You too fearless. You doing the most. You know, it don't take all of that. People don't have to tell you, I'm trying to box you in. They can speak in ways like that to try to get you to stay small because again, you're making them uncomfortable because they can't understand you. You think that you don't you. Sometimes I think too, when you're in a position where you're different, you don't blend in, you stand out. All of us were created to stand out. Let me say that. Stand out is specifically in who you are and what you have to give to the world. So when people don't understand that, that's when the adversity comes. That's when the criticism comes. That's when the trying to be blackballed, as they say, like even I'll say, like in the entertainment industry, you do things that people don't like, they try to blackball you. I mean, that goes in several different ways: business, political. I mean, we can go sports, we can go down the line, even church, y'all. You do some things that people don't understand, and they do what they can to try to prohibit you and your message or your talents, your gifts. They try to stop you from going higher. But I serve a God that will he exceeds any and everybody, and he can do what no other power can do. So another thing I want to add with that is that as an underdog, and I'm talking to all my underdogs out there, an underdog's power often makes others uncomfortable, but their discomfort isn't your limitation. It has nothing to do with you. If somebody's uncomfortable with who you are and what you have to bring to the table, that's on them. That's not on you. And sometimes you probably all have been in situations where you would find yourself shrinking back to make sure you appease the room or you appease your family, appease your friends, appease your boss. And it's like, well, why? And now I feel like I'm choking. Now I feel like I need an oxygen tank because I can't breathe because I'm not able to express myself truly how I am authentically. I can't advocate for myself the way I want to. I feel like I'm stifled and I can't breathe. Next thing I want to talk about is that I've talked about this before, but I want to mention it this way. Your love for what you do, not for who you are. Um, Development, you end up developing fatigue from being needed all the time. How many of y'all out there are always people who people need? And in many ways, all of us are needed in some capacity, some greater, much greater than others. If you're talking about a pastor, you're talking about a bishop, you're talking about a CEO, if you're talking about a parent, if you're talking about a nurse, if you're talking about a lawyer, if you're talking about a mental health counselor, if you're talking about even an artist, a singer, an actor, whatever it is, there's a certain level of things where people are always having a demand on you, and they have a demand on you actually more because of what you can do for them than who you are. Not only does this have really anything to do with the underdog per se, but thinking about being under recognized. You put out so much, people need you all the time. And again, this can produce a level of fatigue if not careful. A person can also feel used or wanted just for their output. And let me say this too, being needed is not the same as being valued. This is almost like need versus want. I'll say sometimes that God, He does not need us. He does not need us to do anything. He doesn't need us to do His work. He will, and if you won't do it, He will get somebody else to do what He's asking you to do if you won't do it. He doesn't need us, but the greater thing is He wants us. He desires us. Just think about if you're in a relationship or you're married, you're dating or something like that, and somebody's actually, they don't need you. And sometimes I think depending upon what you're saying, because like if you need somebody, it doesn't have to necessarily mean you're highly dependent on them. Just like I need you in my life because of who you are to me, your value you bring to my world, your need for me because I've embedded you into the fabric of my life. But even in so that somebody can be too dependent on that, and then that's where I think that becomes unhealthy. On the other side of that, if somebody wants you, it's like this is my choice. A need almost makes me feel like I'm obligated. Wanting is a choice. So sometimes when we talk about love for what we do versus who we are, this can make somebody become very under recognized. It's like, do you see me for anything else? All you see me is because of the output I can give you. You don't even see me for the value I am. You don't see how I'm consistent, I'm loving, I'm empathetic, I'm punctual, I am joyful, I'm amazing, I'm a wonderful person, whatever this is. You just see me for like, okay, so what can you do for me? So this makes a person feel very unrecognized because the only way you're going to really see me or recognize me is based on my productivity or my production for you. Last one I want to say is the fatigue of showing up while overlooked. The fatigue of showing up while overlooked. Y'all, this can happen because many of you all that I'm speaking to, you consistently carry invisible burdens. Do y'all hear what I said? You consistently carry invisible burdens. So sometimes you have that fatigue of showing up while overly you showing up with a smile. You were, and this goes back to the under recognized, but I could also see how this would be the underdog too, because you are going to show up whether you want to or not, and people still will count you out. A person who's dealing with this might wrestle with discouragement, but still remaining faithful. They show up without acknowledgement. People could care less. I mean, you there, okay? Nobody's clapping for you. And let me be very clear, validation is actually healthy. Seeking or doing or being for validation is where it's unhealthy. You want somebody to tell you if you're doing a good job on your job so they don't tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, it's been nice, but we're going to have to let you go. I will hope you telling me you're doing a great job. Keep it up. The difference, let me say again, with being unhealthy is I'm showing up to work and I'm going to do everything I can so that my boss will tell me by the end of the day that I did good. Versus I'm going to show up, character. I'm going to show up and do my job because that's what I'm here to do. And if I'm told that I'm doing great, bet. I appreciate that. If you're in a relationship with somebody, if you're dating somebody, if you're I guess even with your family, but if you're in any type of relationship of any kind, I'm gonna say that stammering relationship of any kind, you would want somebody to have some level of appreciation for you because of how you show up for them, right? I hope so, right? But you shouldn't be doing, you should be who you are to that person, not waiting for them to clap for you or waiting for them to say, oh, you're doing so good. And, I appreciate you. I love you, whatever. You should just be naturally who you authentically are. Now, and when they tell you that they appreciate, who you are to them and what you do for them and how you're an amazing person to them, there's something to be appreciated. But how many of you all work your tails off, work your behinds off, and you sometimes just feel like you are completely overlooked? Nobody cares. It almost makes it seem like, well, if I didn't show up, would people care? Would people care about me? Is anybody paying attention to how maybe my mood has changed? Certain things that are different about me today? How I'm not really at myself? Or again, I'm showing up and I show up and I'm overlooked. So this makes me feel probably a level of burnout. Now, again, That's something you also have to assess with yourself too. Why are you showing up? What am I showing up for? Who am I showing up to? So, wrestling with discouragement, I know a lot of times you don't feel like you're encouraged, you don't feel like you're motivated. David even said in the Bible, he said, I had to encourage myself in the Lord. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself, but what about when you're showing up and you feel discouraged and you still got a smile on your face and you still make it happen? And it's like nobody even knows or has a clue, except for those who probably are in tune with you, who care for you. They notice something's off. But what does it do? I'm carrying invisible burdens and I'm still showing up. But how sometimes that can make me feel under recognized or as the underdog. So, last thing I want to say really quick, how do we move from being under recognized to self recognized? And this is also tying into if you feel like you're the underdog. One of the first things we want to say is we're going to stop waiting for recognition from others and start agreeing with what God already sees in you and what He said about you. You're a royal priesthood, a chosen generation. You're made in the likeness and the image of Christ. Like, what? You know what that means? Like, I can't be looking at, if I'm asking God to show me how He sees me, I need to make sure I'm asking that continuously so that I'm not looking at a lens that does not look like His. Because you might be seeing yourself as not good enough, and God is saying you're more than enough. You looking at yourself saying like, "Oh, I'm so behind. I'm trash. I'm not valuable. I'm not lovable." And God is telling you that you are wonderfully and fearfully made in His image, that He loves you with an undying, unending love, that you are the apple of His eye. So it's like we want to make sure we're not looking for recognition from other people. The recognition you first need to get is from God. Then make sure you're recognizing you too. But it's not to say that recognition isn't sometimes merited sometimes, or especially when you work so hard. I know a lot of people in my life who work there, they're no joke. Their lives are very demanding, very heavy, and they do it with excellence. They're not perfect, but they do it with excellence. And I know that they're not always recognized for their hard work. I know that they're not always appreciated either. But this is where validation still can be healthy. When you're doing all of the things that you're doing, you kind of want to know you be appreciated sometime, especially when you're doing it. And even though it's just who you are, appreciation should be given to those who are doing well by you or for other people or even in the community or in the world. All right. Also, we want to acknowledge our own faithfulness. Track what you've done privately. You don't have to wait on nobody else to track your progress. Don't just wait for also the things to be visible for you to think that you're doing well. Honor your consistency over applause. If you're waiting on people to applaud you, it's almost like you just don't, you can't, don't. If you're waiting for people's applause, I mean, I don't know what to tell you because people will applaud you today and then they will boo you the next if they want. People are fickle. People can be faithful to you today and then also they could be unfaithful the next. So we can't wait on the applause from other people. So you have to learn how to applaud yourself, but honor your consistency. And if you're inconsistent, that just might be something that you've got to grow and improve in. Doesn't mean you need to beat yourself down either, but honor your consistency, not the applause. Okay. Also, we want to redefine what visibility is. Private seasons do not equal overlooked. Okay. Just because you're being hidden for a moment, or maybe you're not able to exercise fully in all the things that you do that's made public, hidden work produces unstoppable public impact. I just told y'all about Michael Jackson. He was in private doing all the stuff he was doing, working for those tours, videos, whatever it was, dance moves just alone, putting in all that time where we see a quick show or a 2 hour show that just seems impeccable, not realizing how many hours that he spent countlessly, not on just song to song, but move by move to make sure that it was perfected. So please don't think that your private season that you're in right now that means that you're overlooked. Hidden work produces unstoppable public impact. I just told y'all a lot of the work that a lot of you all have done. And let me be clear: when we talk about being an underdog or being unrecognized, under recognized, that does not mean that you have not always been a highly successful person or that you do major things, huge things. And stop thinking about major and huge things being the things that are out globally. You've done major things in your life and you're still doing it and you're still going to do even more. But think about all the preparation and things you did behind the scenes or the things you were doing in the midst of succeeding and working hard and producing and things of that nature and doing a lot of output, every level, you go to each level, things shift. So even though you have overcome so much, you've been greatly successful, you've accomplished a lot, when you go to that next level, it's like, okay, here we go. People still will underestimate me, even though all the things you could read somebody's resume, look at their accolades and still underestimate them because of the level that they've been raised to. So don't get that twisted. When we talk about, also, I want to be clear, we talk about success and things of that nature. Being a success as a person, I believe, is the greatest thing. Being a success as a person is going to supersede anything that you put out into the world. Okay. Because you could put out great and amazing things that are, I mean, just immaculate and phenomenal, but you could be a terrible person, have a terrible attitude, have a messed up character, have a jacked up life internally. Okay. Last thing I want to say, oh, wait, two more, y'all. Set boundaries around your access. So make sure you stop over. So making sure, if you feel under recognized or as the underdog wherever you are, stop overextending in spaces where your worth isn't valued. Protect your heart, protect your gifts, and your vision. The Bible says, above all things, guard your heart above all things. So you got to protect you. Don't overextend yourself in spaces where people don't value you. Don't give your pearls before swine because they're going to trample over it and then they're going to attack you. Okay, I'm talking about the Bible, y'all. Coming out the Bible, but so want to make sure we're setting boundaries around access. Also, lastly, to detach from performance-based identity. Your value is not tied to your output. Your value is not tied to your output. I think I said it before that you can separate who you are from what you do. Separate who you are from what you do. Am I a counselor? Yes, I'm a counselor who happens to be an encourager. I'm an encourager who happens to be a counselor. I can say that. When we talk about identity, it's like, who are you 24 hours a day? Who are you 365, 366 if it's a leap year? But also realizing that you don't have to perform in order to have value. You don't have to put things out to have value because even when you're in silent seasons or private seasons or preparation seasons, you're still valuable because you're building and working towards something already. And let me say this too. Sometimes I can feel it that sometimes you think that, oh, well, it's just my time has come or it's taking too long or this, that, and the other. The Bible says that if you would humble yourself before the Lord, in due time, he will exalt you. And the exaltation does not, and him lifting you and elevating you doesn't always start outward. Let me keep saying that. It doesn't show up outward all the time. Sometimes it's inward. So it might be 10 years that's done past and you've had a dream and a vision and things that you've been wanting, you've been really working on, and it has not come to complete fruition yet. But he's already exalted you because he's doing some things in private with you. He's doing some things within you. He's doing some things with your plans. He's doing some things with your organization, your prioritization. He's doing things with your schedule. He's doing things with exposing you to things you've never experienced before that are going to be needed on your journey for when this thing does it's all automatic, it's brought to fruition. So then you're like, oh, wow. I've actually been elevated internally sometimes first before I am outside where people can see it. Last thing I want to say, y'all, as we're closing, don't rush exposure or greater influence. God is refining your impact, and the discipline you built in private will sustain you in public. Let me say that last line again. The discipline. I'm gonna say everything. Don't rush exposure or greater influence. God is refining your impact. The discipline you've built in private will sustain you in public. Again, character. What you do in private and the nature of who you really are, it's going to tell when you get out there in the world and whatever you're doing. Globally, internationally, nationally, whatever, worldwide, whatever you do, it's going to tell. So you can only wear a mask for so long. So truly, who you are, and who you've been prepared to become in private. God's wanting to work on that character development, and you're gonna again, like I always tell y'all, you're not always prepared before something. You're prepared in. So even He can do a working of that while you're in something. And thank God if you're able to work on that stuff before you're catapulted into a place that you've never been before, where so many eyes are on you now. Some people don't get that. You end up seeing everything. You see their character development, their character failure, their lack of discipline, then their discipline, their emotional and spiritual maturity that they don't have, that then is formed in a healthier way. You see that all can happen out before in the world's eyes. We've seen that in many cases, right? So Thank God for where you are right now. You might be the underdog and you might feel under recognized. But one thing for sure is no matter what, you're always going to win. You're always going to have victory. You're always going to accomplish what you're supposed to do. You're already successful. And even though people underestimate you, it's only because they only attack what they lack. So I love y'all. It is Friday evening. I will see y'all again here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. International family, I love y'all, and y'all know what y'all time zones are. Too many to name, but I will see you guys next Friday. As I just said, if you feel like you're the underdog and you feel like you're under recognized, you probably actually are in very good company because that means you're a rarity. And people cannot box you in. They can't understand you. They can't label you. But you're always going to win, and you always have. You're always going to be successful, and you always have, and you always will be. Let people underestimate you because as people attack what they lack. So I love y'all. I will see y'all here. You've always been great. You're just getting better, and now you're finally embracing it. My underdogs out there. The underdog still is top dog. The underdog is top dog. So people underestimate you, and you prove them wrong every time, and not because you have an active motive to prove people wrong, but they just happen to see it as things come to pass in your life and as you continue to get the victory. So love y'all again. Spread love now more than ever. We need the unity, and it starts with you. See y'all next Friday. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Inspiration Station with Joshua Lenox. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.